What is going on, guys? Today we're doing another video, and it's wildcard weekend keys to the game. So, only 12 teams that we're going to be doing this week, not 32. So, let's get into it. So, Colts, Bills. This is going to be a pretty weird game. So, Colts offense, what do you have to do against his defense? Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Jonathan Taylor, that O-line, very, very good. Tight ends are pretty good blockers. Run the ball and you'll be successful. I don't know if you want to run play action with Philip Rivers, get him out, but you probably just want him. You want Philip Rivers and the Colts to probably get him to throw some deep shots if he can, and just get those quick short passes for Philip because you don't want him throwing it 50 times. Run the football for the Colts. Defensively against the Bills, swallowed the run game, so they kept the pass every play. Xavier Rhodes, you probably want to double up Diggs with Julian Blackmon or Kerry Willis, but you want to double up Diggs so there's nothing bad happening there. And yeah, don't let Josh Allen escape and throw it to beat Cole Beasley. So probably want to have either Julian Blackmon or whoever, Kenny Moore or get Rock Ya-Sin in there, getting on Cole Beasley and playing lockdown, and of course letting DeForest Buckner and that D-line do their thing. Darius Leonard, you probably want to blitz him a couple times, and you want him to be containing Josh Allen so he can't get out of the pocket and do his thing. Bills offense, sling it around, probably want to get a little bit of a run game so they don't have to pass it every play, and get it to Diggs, Beasley too, of course. And you might want to get it to Zach Moss out of the backfield or run it with him, but you'll probably want to utilize him well too, because if you don't, then it's gonna be tough to win. He's a pretty big factor too. And then, okay, all access for the Super Bowl. That's cool. So Bills defense is kind of tough because stop the run game. Number one thing, stop the run game. Ed Oliver, that D line, Jerry Hughes, edge guys contain Jonathan Taylor on those stretch runs they run. Because if you don't, they're gonna have a big game on the ground. And get Philip Rivers to throw it a lot, probably. You shut down the run game so he has to throw it a lot, and then maybe you have like Tre'Davious White if he's playing. I think he is, to get him able to. I don't know what to say, but make sure you get pressure on Rivers so when he has to throw it, the Tre'Davious White and Jordan Poyer and the rest of that secondary is able to intercept it or intercept Rivers, and of course you want to let the linebackers contain, because if you don't have them contained, just have them go right up the middle. If you do storm blitz on Rivers when he drops back to pass, it's gonna really hurt. He's not gonna be able to throw it as well. So if the Bills do that, then they're gonna have success on defense. Rams Seahawks is a really tough game to predict. I'm not predicting it, of course, but the keys to the game is kind of hard because it depends on who's in and who's out and how each team's gonna play and what style they're gonna play. So for the Rams offense, so it doesn't matter who they have it. So let's just say I'm gonna do two sides. Jared Goff's in the game. Run it and make sure it's successful. All line has to be really physical. If it's not physical, then they're not gonna have any type of run game. If it's physical, Cam Akers and Malcolm Brown are going to be able to get into those holes and be able to run all over that defense and wear them out. And then your play action bootleg game can really help, and maybe a little bit of drop back for Goff. And they will have Cooper Kupp. So if Jared Goff's able to throw to Cooper Kupp a lot and let him run after the catch like drags and screens, and same with Robert Woods, and getting into those tight ends on those flats, it'll really help and boost his confidence, and they'll play really efficient on offense. And then John Wolford's in the game. You probably want to run a couple design runs, zone reads maybe, and probably hand it off. Get him like he's probably will be a little more have a couple jitters, but like he did, let him read the defense a little more. You don't want to run too many play action boots with. You probably want to run a couple play action boots with John Wolford if he's playing, to get him in so he has the option of either running, throwing, or throwing it away. And probably want him to drop back a little, just to like beat them with his arm, throwing balls, like letting him read the defense. He did that last week and it really worked. It worked out pretty well. And they have to finish in the red zone. That means O-line has to be really physical, no penalties and no turnovers. And if the Rams don't turn over the ball on offense, it's gonna be really hard for the Seahawks to win because of the Rams defense. But of course, so the main things they don't want to do is turn over the ball, be efficient, which they have been doing up until the red zone. You have to be efficient anywhere, especially in the red zone. Put a priority on that, and no turnovers. And then like what I said with the offense. But you don't want to have Goff having to feel uncomfortable because that's when the turnovers happen. So they don't want any turnovers. No turnovers, and put an emphasis on being efficient in the red zone. They do that, the Rams should have a decent game on offense, and of course be efficient and do the things I said before. Rams defense, okay. So don't let Russ cook. That's the main thing. Contain him, which they can do with their linebackers and their D-line with Aaron Donald. You probably want to have Aaron Donald play not against Dwayne Brown, who is pretty good, and they're probably going to have to double team him. So that means other guys like Leonard Floyd and Samson Ebukam will be able to get to the quarterback a lot faster. And if they're able to do that, then Russ is going to be sitting on his butt the whole game. And Ramsey has to shut down Metcalf, which he's done for most of the time. He hasn't allowed a touchdown. So if he keeps doing that, then they're fine. And then, of course, Tyler Lockett and stop that run game and Tyler Lockett, then they'll be fine. Tyler Lockett's pretty fast, so they probably want to have, I don't know, Darius Williams on him, who's pretty fast too. And the safeties probably want to really just come up and just hit the running backs and stop them. And if they stop the run game, the Rams stop the running game, and they're more physical up front, then they can really do well. And then just do what they're gonna do what they've normally been doing, and against the Seahawks, then they'll be fine. Seahawks offense, probably want to get Russ outside the pocket doing his thing. Make sure he doesn't hold onto the ball too long, or he's going to get destroyed. And get the run game going. Do your Seahawks thing. That's what they did against the Rams a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's week 16, and they won because they did old Seahawks football, running the ball. Pete Carroll emphasizes that. They don't have any. Chris Carson's a pretty good running back, but he's no Marshawn Lynch. That doesn't. And if the offensive lines, and they really just kind of make sure they don't turn over the ball, because if they do, then the Rams are just going to keep getting confident, and it's going to be really hard to come back on that. No, let's talk about DK Metcalf. You want to throw some jump balls to him, because Jalen Ramsey, even though he's pretty darn good, you probably want to get the ball to DK any way you can if it's a screen. And of course, the Rams are probably try to contain Russell, so maybe you want to run some design runs up the middle if they can. Depends on where Aaron Donald is, but it's going to be really tough to maneuver on this offense. But if you utilize your weapons and run the ball Seahawks way and maybe get Russ outside of the pocket, you guys should be good. They should be good on offense and score a ton of points and do Seahawks thing, even if they're not going to be throwing the ball all over the yard. Defensively, for the Seahawks, get pressure on whoever the heck's the quarterback, and make sure you can disguise coverages if it's for both quarterbacks, because unless Jared Goff is in, you don't want to disguise coverages, because then it's going to be really tough to stop it. And if Jamal Adams is in, you want to blitz him a lot, I can just say, and probably want to have him back a little. But Jared Goff struggled when he played them because he was contained. He couldn't do much. So if you do the same thing they did last time, they'll be fine, which is containing and force Jared Goff into dumb decisions and intercepting it and forcing turnovers and stopping the Rams' run game. And get pressure on him, too. And utilizing your superstars and Jamal Adams. Bobby Wagner is just a pure tackler, so he's fine with that. And then Bucs versus football team now. Bucs offense, D-line, you want to make sure Brady's going to get a lot of pressure up the middle, and we know that because I don't know if Ali Marpet's going to be in. Well, whatever. All we know is that there's going to be a lot of inside pressure, and that really hurts Brady. So if they want to run the ball, it's going to have to be outside zones runs, and they're tackle Tristan Wirfs and Donovan Smith, and the tight ends are going to really have to block so that Ronald Rojo and Leonard Fournette are able to get to the edge. They're not going to be able to run it up the middle. I can say that. Maybe a couple half-back dives, maybe really tough. And if Brady, you can't have Brady throwing a million times, because if you do that, it's gonna be really tough to beat the football team and that defense. And of course, you want to get the ball to Antonio Brown, AB, and Chris Godwin and the tight ends. So many weapons. There's not enough good cornerbacks, and safeties on the football team to be able to do that. So if you do that on the really good defense, and just do what you've been doing, except make sure the ball's coming out quick with Brady, so he doesn't get nervous when the pressure comes up the middle, and he doesn't struggle with that. They should put up a ton of points, but it's gonna be really tough because they're playing a really good defense. Bucks defense, okay. Shut down the run game so Alex Smith or whatever their carousel of quarterbacks is has to beat him with his arm, which he can do because he throws it a lot to the tight end, and that's something they've actually kind of struggled with. If you look at last week, Hayden Hurst had he had a couple receptions. I think he had a touchdown too. But that run game is not going to work. Okay, the Bucs defense is just going to shut down the run game, but they're going to have to make I think and the Bucs probably want to, of course. They're going to stop the run game, so they shouldn't be worried about that. But they should be worried about making sure to make Alex Smith get hurt, sack him. If they sack him a lot and they have no run game, it's gonna be really tough for the football team to get anything going on offense. And they're gonna try to get the ball to their best receiver and probably their best player on their team. Well, maybe he's probably not as good as Chase Young, but one of their best players on their team, and Terry McLaurin. So if they have to stop him, which means either doubling up or putting your best cornerback on him and trusting them to cover him. And if they do that on for the Bucs, they should have it. But remember, this is playoff football, and in playoff football, it is super duper matters. Any team can win at any time, and if they have to play with intensity, just like all the other teams on defense, all these offenses have to play in with intensity if they want to win. And the Bucs, if they play intensity on this football team offense, they are going to beat them up, and there's going to be a lot of sacks. I can just say that. I think that's going to be a big theme in this game. Football team, offense. Okay, get the ball out quick for Smith. If they can get any type of run game going, do that because you want to get these first down runs because it's just going to really hurt their defense, and they're going to be thinking, how the heck are we not stopping them when they have the best run defense in back-to-back years? And I think it's pretty dang good. So if they're able to run the ball and let Alex Smith do his thing, throwing it to the tight ends and getting it to Terry McLaurin, then they should win this. They should not winning in this. They should have a really good game. They should put up some points. I don't think they're going to be they're not an explosive offense, if you want to know the truth. Football team's not explosive, but they can really, really have game managing, and they can really draw the clock to its final seconds, which means Brady and the Bucs can't really do anything. And yeah, if they do that and get the ball to Gibson and try to find some way to get between for the run game and the gaps. If they find a gap, then they have to keep utilizing that if they want to be able to have a run game. And Alex Smith needs a run game to succeed to throw it to the tight ends and of course Terry McLaurin. Okay, I'm kind of ranting now. Back to it. Football team defense. Pressure up the middle. And just don't let any of the receivers make any big plays. They're an explosive team, and if Brady takes any shots, you got to be ready. If the ball's a duck, which he sometimes has, or he throws it to no one, be ready. You got to capitalize and turn over the ball. You get pressure up the middle and stop the run game, which they've been doing. If they do what they've been doing for the past, month or month and a half, they should win. They could win. Their defense could win them the game. It's gonna be tough, but they could. So Ravens, Ravens offense, run it with Lamar a lot, and throw it a lot. So basically just have a really balanced offense and make sure Lamar's able to run because if you don't get him carries, they're not going to win the game. The Titans defense is atrocious. So if they're able to do that, they should put up 40 points. I'm not saying they are going to, but they can. Just watch out for Kevin Byard. He's a really good safety, and they got to be ready for him if they're going to do something with him. And now that's about it. Just utilize Lamar right, get him his carries, and be balanced on offense. Ravens defense, they gotta stack the box against Derrick Henry. If they don't stack the box against Henry, it's gonna be tough. And you gotta trust whoever the heck how many cornerbacks they have. The cornerbacks have to be able to come up big in this tough playoff game in Nashville. Or wherever it is, I think it's Nashville, at Nissan Stadium, and stop A.J. Brown in the passing game. Ryan Tannehill isn't amazing. He's a good quarterback, pretty good. He's really been good in the past 2 years because he's had a really good run game. And you can't have Tannehill be able to get comfortable, and he's going to be really, really, really tough to stop if you're able to do that. And contain him a little. You don't want him. You probably want to keep him in the pocket because Tannehill is a lot more mobile than people think he is. He's ran outside the pocket and done some pretty good things sometimes. But just the main thing, stop that run game, and it's be tough, and just trust your cornerbacks and your safeties to contain their weird receiving core, and of course Johnny Smith can be covered by Patrick Queen. But the linebackers just gotta make sure Henry just doesn't go anywhere. It's gonna be tough though, because Titans will be running the ball, which comes to the Titans offense. Run, stretch, and just get carry. Like, if you don't give Henry 30 carries, so this happens if Henry gets 20 carries and he's only had 50 yards, which is pretty bad, like really, really bad, then you got something there, and you know that you shouldn't really be running the ball anymore. And for that reason only, you probably don't want to keep running it. It's, what is that, 0.4 yards per carry, whatever it is. But either way, Titans, if you only have 50 yards and 20 attempts, or 25 attempts with Henry, you probably want to switch it up and throw the ball, which you're going to be able to do if they keep stacking the box. Wear out that defense with Derrick Henry in that run game. You'll probably want to get some Darrington Evans because you can't keep giving it to Henry every play. But run the ball a lot with Henry. 2,000 yards rusher. There's a reason for that. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, and do a little bit of play action and throw some balls. But don't like just run the ball. If you keep doing that, the Ravens defense is gonna get worn out, and it's gonna be really a long night for them. They stop it, go to the passing game, which they have a pretty strong. Titans defense contain Lamar and just don't let them have any big plays. If they have big plays, then they're just if they limit the big plays, they're gonna give up a couple points. They're gonna give up a couple rushing yards. But you just don't want them to. If they have any big plays, they're not gonna win. It's just the truth. Titans have to make sure there's no big plays and limit the rushing yards. They're able to do that. Their defense, their offense should be able to put up enough points for them to win. And now Bears offense against the Saints defense. Let Trubisky run. Probably want to let him use his legs a lot, because this Saints defense can't account for that. I think the thing is, their personnel and the way they play is they don't account for the quarterback, and sometimes they do, but usually they don't. And that's why they're so successful, because they can cover other people twice. Teams they've played haven't had many mobile quarterbacks, and for that reason, like when they played the Chiefs, Mahomes pretty dang mobile, so they had to it was tough for them to play defense against Mahomes. So in that case, the Bears, if they let Trubisky run, and you probably want to run the ball with David Montgomery, who I think is a very good running back in my opinion. Do that, then they should run the ball, get it to Allen Robinson, and maybe even Jimmy Graham, who's played pretty dang good in the red zone. And then run the ball with Trubisky, and they should have put up a couple points. They're not going to put up 30 points. There's no way they're doing that. Bears defense, get pressure on Brees right up the middle. He's 10 times worse than Tom up the middle. He can't throw it deep, so just cover the quick routes and the short routes. And then of course their secondary has to really come up big. They played up and down this season. Eddie Jackson's their best secondary player by a mile, and for that reason, I think they're probably gonna have to do that. And they probably have to utilize him. And for that reason, the Saints are gonna have to run the ball, because if they don't, it's gonna be tough for them to win. And when they run the ball, the Bears defense has to be ready. And if they are ready, the Saints are out of luck, and Bears defense could be cooking up a shutout. Not saying they are. It's probably not gonna happen, but who knows? And it's playoff football in New Orleans, and the Saints usually get screwed. So if that happens, then Bears already win. Saints offense, kind of already explained it. Run the ball with Kamara or Murray or whoever's the running back. Run the ball, and if it's Kamara, get it to him out of the backfield. And Brees has to throw it off play action, short routes, because he can't throw it that far. And make sure he doesn't get pressure up the middle, or he's just going to get sacked for throwing a pick. Make sure Brees gets some passes and so he gets into a rhythm, and he's able to throw it and play Drew Brees football without the cannon. And then, of course, defensively for the Saints, make Trubisky look bad, which means bring pressure and make them throw hard passes, like really hard passes. They can do that. They've done it pretty much all season. But they gotta make sure they account for him. Like maybe put a container like Demario Davis, who's probably your best linebacker. Put him on there and let Trey Hendrickson get to the quarterback. And it's gonna be tough for Bears and get on it. Make sure Marshawn Lattimore wins that battle against Allen Robinson, because if he doesn't, it's gonna be tough. The whole D line has to play good to make sure they get pressure, and of course stopping David Montgomery, because if they don't stop him, it's gonna be really tough to win. David Montgomery is a pretty good running back. He's pretty underrated if you ask me. So if they put pressure on Trubisky, contain him, and make him throw really tough balls, which he probably can't throw, it's gonna be tough to win for the Bears. And make sure Allen Robinson's covered and stop David Montgomery, and they should win if they do that. Same with the Bears, with what I said. Now it's the 8:15 NBC Sunday Nighter to close out Super Wild Card Weekend, or Wild Card Weekend, whatever you want to call it. Browns Steelers. Browns don't have their head coach. I'm putting that into a big factor, though. So the Browns offense, you want to run the ball away from TJ Watt. If they have TJ Watt and Cam Hayward on either side, just run the ball up the gut. And Baker Mayfield, one of those play action boots. If TJ Watt's right in his face, he just gotta throw it away. He's gotta do that. And get it to Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, and whoever the heck else they can. And probably Ricky Seals-Jones. He's played really good. So if you get it to your playmakers and run the ball, they should have a good game because their offensive line I think they can handle a little bit of the pass rush. Don't want Baker Mayfield to have to win the game with his arm. He's a good quarterback. He's not a great great quarterback though, and everyone should know that. Can't have him just going back and throwing the ball because it's not gonna work. And then of course now we gotta go on the Browns defense. It's kind of tough playing the Steelers offense, so they're gonna have to throw it out quick because their offensive line is not physical, which means Myles Garrett's gonna have to. They're gonna have to really just undercover. Like if Myles Garrett gets the ball, he throws it. There's no way receivers to flash where you can just throw it deep, and Roethlisberger gonna have to wind up for that. For that reason, they throw a lot of short passes, screens, which means the linebackers have to, and everyone has to rally to the ball so nothing bad happens. They don't allow any big plays, and the run game's not gonna be good. Run game's not good. They're gonna have to pass it 50 times, and it's gonna be tough for the Steelers to move the ball that way because the Browns have pretty much a playmaker at every level of the defense except safety. Cornerback, D-line. Cornerback's Denzel Ward. D-line's is Myles Garrett, and then their other one is, of course, Logan Wilson. So, it's not Logan Wilson, whatever, it's the Wilson guy. He's really, really good. And Taki, Goodson, they're all pretty good. So, if they just do that, their defense should be able to stop the Steelers a lot and make the Browns have to punt. And the Browns can burn some clock and either get 3 points or a touchdown. Steelers offense, like I said, you probably want to have an offensive line. Main thing has to play physical. If they play physical and they're intense and they really bring the heat, and they get the run game going, my goodness, they can just let Roethlisberger throw it in the red zone, which they've been doing, and they should get some points off that. And if they do, they should have a decent game on offense. Steelers defense. Okay. Let TJ Watt just put him in the right place, and he will get a sack every single time. I'm not kidding. Just let him get to the quarterback, and make sure he gets to the quarterback so he can just pull down Baker Mayfield, and just stop the run game and make sure none of the receivers break loose and get a long touchdown. If they do that, the Steelers defense should really help the Steelers offense win this thing. So yeah, those are the keys to the game. It probably wasn't my best video, but I think I did okay. Comment section below how you think I did, and like, subscribe, and comment below what you think my next video should be. Bye, see ya, peace, and hope you liked it.